Good evening. I'm Tim Haab. I'm the director of Ohio State School of Environment and Natural Resources. It's a joy to see everyone here this evening and see the interactions occurring among environmental, natural resource, and sustainability professionals, students, and so many different fellow residents of our community. I welcome everyone, including newcomers and our regulars tonight, to the Environmental Professionals Network, or EPN as we call it. I also want to welcome the many who are with us on our live stream YouTube production. We know we have attendees joining us today from across the region, across the country, and even around the world. We appreciate you tuning in with the EPN on this Earth Day. Thank you all for being here as we celebrate Earth Day, the day before the actual Earth Day. As we focus on the sustainability stories of natural fibers and the clothes that we wear, told by the Farm to Fashions champions who will be speaking to you this evening. If you didn't get a chance to see them earlier, no worries. You'll soon be hearing from many of those same exhibitors as they tell their farm to fashion stories in just a few short minutes. I'm especially proud of our senior SENR capstone students who presented their senior capstone projects earlier today. There were nearly 50 student project posters from our spring semester capstone program, led by Esther DeBusk, Greg Heitzhusen, and Bruce Brain. These projects involve partnerships with entities ranging from local governments to Fortune 500 companies. I'm also pleased to report that this year the capstone projects at Ohio, the capstone course in SENR was named one of Ohio State's programs of excellence and engaged scholarship for the whole university. Let's all give a round of applause to the SENR senior capstone students. As a token of our thanks to our soon-to-graduate capstone students, SENR and the Environmental Professionals Network have given each of you a coupon that will get you into a future EPN breakfast event for free. As you embark into your professional careers, we hope that you continue being a part of our community of environmental professionals here with the EPN. Today, there were several dozen NSF-funded empowerment training research posters from interdisciplinary PhD students tackling sustainable energy challenges. Thanks to Jess Boeke and Katie Zimmerman from the Sustainability Institute for organizing this for another year. For our in-person guests, feel free to scan the QR code around the room or reference a paper brochure to see the rest of today's agenda, the list of our sponsors, and biographies for all of our speakers. YouTube viewers, please check the chat for a link to the online brochure. Live stream viewers, you can engage with us through the YouTube channel chat. On behalf of EPN, I'd like to thank our annual sponsors who have generously made this event free for all attendees, enhancing our ability to connect with environmental professionals, not just here in the venue, but across Ohio and the world. We give special thanks to NG North America, the Ohio State Energy Partners, the OSU Sustainability Institute, and Facilities Operations and Development, Ohio EPA, and Ohio's Division of Wildlife for their annual sponsorships. We couldn't do this without you. You make these connections possible. Please join me in thanking our sponsors. Before we move on with the program, this year we lost two valuable members of our community, the SENR community. We've lost Dr. Majeka Sullivan, who was a previous director of the Shearmire Olentangy Wetland Research Park from 2014 to 2022. We also lost Dr. Bill Mitch, who was the founder of the Olentangy Wetland Research Park and the winner of the Stockholm Water Prize in 2004. Now on to the recognition of the Environmental and Natural Resources Alumni Society 2024 inductees into the Honorary 100. Our team is grateful for the work of the Environment and Natural Resources Alumni Society, also known as NRUS, who facilitate the Honorary 100 program. The School of Natural Resources, as it was known at the time, was created in 1969. Dr. Bob Teeter, the school's first director, formed a group of friends and supporters known as the Honorary 100. Over the years, individuals with a special interest in the school and its programs and activities have been recognized as members of the Honorary 100. Serving several purposes, the Honorary 100 served as a sounding board for school programs, with the recruitment of students, with our related public agencies, and with fundraising and development activities. The criteria established for selecting members of the Honorary 100 required an interest in the environment and natural resources and a special interest in the school's programs and involvement in various activities. We continue to annually induct outstanding individuals into the Honorary 100 by recognizing outstanding Ohioans who have created a recognizable impact throughout our school and the Buckeye State. It's now my honor to welcome our 2025 Honorary 100 recipient. He's an exceptional environmental leader who for decades has individually and positively enhanced the quality of life and caliber of the natural resource professionals community of Ohio and beyond. With a little bit of help from the Ohio Department of Natural Resources Division of Wildlife and our communications team, we put together a video to honor this year's inductee. Please turn your attention to the video screen and let's all congratulate Mr. Stephen A. Gray.
Today on the Basics of Fishing, we're going to talk about fishing in the early springtime when the water's still cold and some things you can do to maybe catch some fish. Today we're going to concentrate on largemouth bass. We've come to a very shallow pond because these kinds of ponds warm up faster.
Good evening. My name is Robert Gates. I'm an associate professor in the School of Environment and Natural Resources in the Wildlife Program. We're pleased this evening to recognize Mr. Stephen Gray as an inductee into the School of Environment and Natural Resources Honorary 100. Steve graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Wildlife Management from the School of Natural Resources in 1975, where he was recognized as the top natural resources student by the Natural Resources Alumni Association. He completed the Wildlife Officer Training Academy and started his career as a wildlife officer soon thereafter. Steve rose quickly through the ranks of the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, starting as an at-large Ohio Division of Wildlife Officer in 1976, and he later spent 3 years as the Wildlife Officer in Crawford County, Ohio. In succession, Steve served as the Division of Wildlife's Information Officer, as Executive Assistant to the Wildlife Chief and Assistant Chief during 1991 to 2003, before he served as Chief of Wildlife from 2003 to 2007. Steve retired from ODNR in 2007 after a 31-year career with the Division of Wildlife. Steve then suspended his retirement in 2019, returning to the Ohio Department of Natural Resources as Assistant Director for the Divisions of Wildlife, Forestry, Natural Areas and Preserves, and the Office of Real Estate. A lifelong resident of Ross County, Steve is an avid hunter, angler, and trapper, and enjoys the outdoors and natural history study. Throughout his career, Steve has been a strong advocate for recruitment and retention of hunters and fishers and engaging Ohio citizens and visitors in all forms of wildlife-based recreation. Steve Gray is known as a tenacious advocate for partnerships between the Ohio Department of Natural Resources and the School of Environment and Natural Resources in support of research, education, and training of SENR staff, faculty, and students. Steve has been an ardent supporter of the Terrestrial Wildlife Ecology Laboratory, which was founded under Steve's leadership in 2003 and recently celebrated its 20th year anniversary.
Today on the Basics of Fishing, we're going to fish in a farm pond. We had plans today to go to a stream, but overnight we had torrential rains. The streams got very high and muddy, so we had to change our plans. Almost any day of the year you can find a good place to fish in Ohio. In times when you have a lot of high water and rains, look for farm ponds because they are some of the last bodies of water to get turbid or muddy. So we're going to try our luck today. We're going to use two different kinds of baits.
Always an advocate for waterfowl and wetlands conservation, Steve was instrumental in arranging the means for the Department of Natural Resources to help fund a new endowment that will support the Winus Point Waterfowl and Wetlands Professorship in the College of Food, Agriculture, and Environmental Science and in the School of Environment and Natural Resources. Steve also served on the Winus Point Marsh Conservancy Board of Trustees during his short retirement before becoming the Assistant Director of ODNR. Steve was also instrumental in supporting strong partnerships with conservation organizations such as Ducks Unlimited, Pheasants and Quail Forever, and the National Wild Turkey Federation, just to name a few. Steve's professional and personal associations over the years have really helped form and sustain the natural resources conservation community that unites state and federal agencies, universities, non-governmental organizations, and private stakeholders as effective advocates for wildlife resources across Ohio. Lastly, but no less important, Steve has always truly cared about the people that work with him or under his direction over the years. On behalf of all of us gathered here this evening, congratulations, Steve, on your induction into the Environment and Natural Resources Honorary 100. Your distinguished career and contributions to the School of Environment and Natural Resources and to our mission of supporting natural resources conservation in Ohio are exemplary and well-deserving of this distinction.
Now we'd like to invite Kendra Wecker to the podium for a few comments.
All right. Well, thank you, Tim, and thank you all for being here tonight. I get the honor to recognize a true pioneer in our field of conservation. Steve Gray has spent over 5 decades doing what's right for wildlife and the people who enjoy wildlife in Ohio. Hopefully you're one of them. He has pushed the limits of what's possible for new and better responsible wildlife management, maximizing our knowledge and accessibility to the outdoors. Steve, your career has been extraordinary. From your early days as a young wildlife officer to becoming a leading voice in our conservation community, you've never stopped learning, growing, and innovating. Your ability to navigate controversial issues and improve policy to make Ohio a leader in conservation is admirable and impressive. Your groundbreaking work on apprentice hunting licenses changed how we approach the recruitment and retention of hunters and anglers. Your impressive ability to recall dates and details of past issues and historical events is the stuff of legends. You are often the go-to when questions are posed about a past issue, and we usually end with, "Ask Steve, he'll know." But your influence goes far beyond your professional achievements. You've mentored countless individuals, including me, OSU class of '92. Your generosity in sharing your knowledge, your patience in guiding others, and your constant support for new talent have shaped the careers of so many people in the Ohio Division of Wildlife. You've also been a strong advocate for teaching others how to hunt, fish, and trap, using your influence to drive positive change in our industry and beyond. Your commitment to ethics and integrity has set a standard for all of us to follow. When we look at Steve's career, we see a blueprint for excellence. We see the power of curiosity, the importance of persistence, and the unwavering calmness to hold steady when under pressure. We see the impact one dedicated individual can have on an entire state. Steve, this Lifetime Achievement Award recognizes your lasting legacy, and you've not only contributed to our field, you've fundamentally changed it. Your work and expectations will continue to influence and inspire far into the future, and you have set the bar very high. As you accept this award, please know that it comes from the deepest respect and gratitude from all of us, and thank you for your invaluable contributions, for the paths you've cleared, and for setting an example that will guide Ohio wildlife conservation for years to come. Congratulations.
Steve, would you please come up to the front of the stage and join me and Neil Sargent, NRS President, for a photo. NRUS and the School of Environment and Natural Resources are honored to induct Mr. Stephen Gray into the ENR Honorary 100. Thank you for all you've done for our community over the years, and congratulations again. Getting my steps in today. That concludes the Honorary 100 induction of today's program. And now I'd like to invite Joe Campbell and Harrison Freed, outgoing and incoming EPN directors, to the stage to introduce tonight's EPN Signature Earth Day event, Farm to Fashion.
It's like one of those weddings where they announce like the bridal party or whatever, and everyone has to do a dance as they walk out. So get used to a long walk across the stage. Hi, everyone. It's just fabulous to see you all. Happy Earth Day Eve. It's a joy to see so many people come together. I know throughout this venue there's lots of folks interacting, and it's just a wonderful time of the year for that. This is our 12th Environmental Professionals Network Signature Earth Day events. We've hosted at least 10,000 people over those 12 years, and it's wonderful that you're all part of that community, either now, today for the first time, or I'm looking around the room and I see a few who might have been to all 12, which is wonderful. I do want to start by just acknowledging, I don't think we would be here today if, and I told Dr. Lewis I was going to mention this, in the summer of 2023, we were developing an autumn program that was to explore carbon net zero strategies. Some of you might follow that in your own professional worlds or personally. And I cold called Dr. Lewis in the middle of the summer, and I asked if she'd be willing to talk about sustainability in the fashion industry, a domain of which I don't know much about, but I'm trying to learn. And Dr. Lewis was so generous and not only volunteered to participate, but also gave a lot of time and put together a phenomenal presentation. And Ms. Lisa Goldsand, or as I said earlier, Honorary Dr. Goldsand, we were at an event together, and I think you just raised the idea, if I recall correctly, a couple of years ago, of talking about fashion and sustainability. And those conversations have helped get us to where we are today, and you've introduced us to so many more people in the community we would have never known. So thank you both so much. And you helped reintroduce us professionally to some folks that we might have already known. So I see a couple former students in the audience who are now speakers, which is a fabulous thing. We are going through changes in the world of sustainability, and we have to acknowledge that. And yesterday is different from today, and tomorrow will be different from today and yesterday. We have each other in this room. That's one beautiful thing about the community that we're in here in Central Ohio. You look around, there's dozens of other people in this space with very different organizations, very different walks of life, whatever you might do. It could be very different from others, but we share a couple things in common. And I'm very proud to say that in addition to the senior capstone SENR programs, which were on the other side of the building, that won a Program of Excellence designation. The EPN also won a Program of Excellence designation last year. And I think in part that has to do truly with, I'm looking around the room, I see so many faces. Your commitment to one another, to our goals and sustainability is what powers us forward. So that's just a thank you to Lisa and Tasha for being part of that and what you've expanded for us. So thank you so much, and I'm really proud and honored to have Harrison follow me here. Dr. Freed.
Thank you, Dr. Campbell, and thank you to 15 amazing speakers who are researchers, exhibitors, and practitioners from all across the country who are here today to talk about farm to fashion. We couldn't do this without you, and as Joe said, today more than ever, it's about relationships. Relationships. That's what can get us through darkness. When we weave together stories of farm to fashion, and you're going to hear these woven stories, and yes, I'm going to use the weaving pun, the threading puns of farm to fashion. When we weave together these stories, and you're going to hear it from all 15 of these speakers, we can come up with amazing entry points for sustainability. And that is exactly what you're going to hear. So thank you to Tasha, thank you to Alicia, thank you to Helen, thank you to all of our amazing speakers for being here today. And without further ado, let's just go ahead and bring up Lisa and Tasha.
Hello, EPN. I am super excited to be here tonight. How about you? Woo! So, why are we here today? We're here to learn from people in Central Ohio who are experts in the fibers which have been used to clothe humanity for millennia. We're here to contextualize the process and system which exists at a global level, not as bad or good, but as short-lived in the larger framework of history. We're here to begin the process of examining a fiber system in need of evolution. We're not going to leave here with a vetted change management blueprint, but I'm hoping we're going to leave here thinking about it. This is what humans do. We innovate, we build, we course correct, we evolve. We're here to imagine the increased involvement and ownership of US-based producers of valuable raw materials in a more sustainable and regenerative US-based circular economy. It starts with fiber. So here are some truths. 100 billion garments are produced annually on planet Earth, and upwards of 60% of those are made from fossil fuel-based fibers. Fibers which pollute water streams, which shed microplastics, and which do not biodegrade. But polyester was invented a minute ago, 85 years ago, and the inventors of polyester, nylon, and acetate did not set out to cause global harm. But with the information we have now, we can reevaluate and evolve the system and how synthetic fibers exist within it. Synthetic fibers are often selected in product development because they're affordable, available, and agile. They may well have a place in garment production. However, a circular economy, did I do something there? Okay. A circular economy in which fibers used to produce textiles are more easily reclaimed through the development of closed-loop systems is a needed and practical solution. Okay, this is the event's game show moment. Everybody please get ready. Who can guess how long cotton has been used to clothe humans? You will get nothing if you win. There are no prizes. Maybe a sheep. Anybody want to guess? How long has cotton been used to clothe humans?
5,000 years.
7,000 years. You do not get the non-existent prize. How about wool? Anybody? Wool. How long has wool? You can't answer. How long has wool, nor can you. How long has wool been used to clothe human bodies? Also 7,000 years. You're never going to get this one. Ladies, you're not allowed to answer this one. How about flax and linen? TJ, you can't answer either. Flax and linen, how long? Just take a guess. 36,000 years. So here's a fact. More than enough cotton is grown in the United States to fulfill all of the fiber demand to produce all of the cotton garments which are imported for purchase by US consumers. Cotton is a global commodity. It is also an abundant domestic commodity and a foundation for the regrowth of a portion of the US garment production here, if we choose to view it as such. One more game show moment. Raise your hand if you are wearing wool underpants. I am wearing wool underpants right now. You now know this, and you cannot unknow it. I am so sorry. Wool, as a fiber, has experienced a notable shift in perception in recent years among brands who offer performance attributes to their consumers. It's temperature regulating, it's moisture wicking, it does not retain odor, it's biomimicry in action, right? Wool makes up only 2% of clothing consumed in the United States today. You will hear this afternoon, if you haven't already, from advocates for the increased presence of wool and of sheep as part of a carbon sink strategy for which U.S. agriculture is well positioned. We're here today to learn from experts, in several cases, families of experts from our community about fibers of which they have been stewards for generations. Today we're focused on the exploration of fiber which should be the foundation of the regrowth of domestic clothing production. In order for clothing production to be localized, there is a need for significant reinvestment in infrastructure to build a fiber to finished product supply chain, including spinning mills, weaving and knitting operations, dye houses, and cut and sew businesses. Workforce development is needed to train a new generation of textile workers, machine operators, and pattern makers who receive a living wage. Policy and incentives are required to support companies investing to reshore their operations. And, maybe the most important, a shift in consumer behavior is needed, where Americans pay for quality, ethics, and sustainability associated with domestically produced clothing, and where they recognize that they can afford this by purchasing fewer, better quality garments than they have previously. I do just want to mention, I'm sure everybody knows this. Okay, last game show moment. How many times do people wear something after they buy it before they're done with it? Anyone want to guess? 7. So there's room there. Technology will be critical. Robotics and AI allowing reduced reliance on manual labor for certain tasks and the growth of small, agile, tech-enabled factories which are close to the end consumer can reduce lead times and waste. Today in Central Ohio, I can name 3 garment-producing companies, at least one of them is in the audience. Let's all hoot when I say her name. Columbus-based Columbus Apparel Studio, founded by Denise Falter Conklin. Where are you? Woo! So Valley in Cincinnati, founded by Shayla Maynard. And the Hocking Hills Garment Center, founded by Betsy Frangiola. They're women, but maybe we're not supposed to mention that right now. They're women. This can happen. This is happening. The road is long and arduous and needs ingenuity, collaboration, and support from everyone sitting here today. It starts with fiber. Thank you all so much for being here today, and I hope you enjoy the show.
All right, that's quite a runway. First of all, I want to thank EP, and I want to thank Joe, Hallie, Harrison. It's been wonderful working with you, and also with you, Lisa. So to prepare my remarks for today, I revisited an article that I was interviewed for a few years ago called "It's Time for the Fashion Industry to Launch a Farm-to-Closet Movement," with the subtitle, "For Fiber and Textile Producers, the Path to Growing Sustainable Cotton, Hemp, and Flax is Complicated." I think these words do a good job of capturing what we will explore today. 1, there is a need for a connection between producers and consumers of fashion as shoppers become more conscious of their choices and want to know where and how garments are made. And 2, making this connection can be complicated, especially when sustainable processes must be implemented across the supply chain, beginning with fiber production. But complicated does not mean impossible. Challenging, yes, and I'm sure that we will hear more about some of those challenges today. I'll begin with sharing a bit of my personal natural fiber footprint experience as part of my journey as a fashion scholar. My first true farm-to-fashion immersion occurred on a trip to India in 2012. Its history of cotton cultivation is impressive, and it is one of the global leaders in production of the fiber, along with the US and China. In India, as some of you here may know very well, it is possible to observe the entire farm-to-fashion process, from fiber to yarn to fabric and the final garment. Back in the US about 10 years later, at Cotton Incorporated's office in North Carolina, I gained a valuable perspective on the versatility, ongoing research, and innovation that is possible with cotton. My encounters with wool have also been informative right here in Ohio. A recent visit to the State Fair was an opportunity to appreciate the variety of local sheep breeds and wool fibers in all their colors and textures. I've also seen the potential longevity of wool and how, due to its moisture retention properties, it can also be recycled to support plant growth. As I witnessed when working with a team of student researchers at Cornell who developed a hydroponic system to test the ability of different natural fibers to be recycled for this purpose. And one of the most memorable farm-to-fashion moments can be attributed to our next speaker. While advising Dr. Helen Trejo during her graduate research, I visited my first fiber farm in upstate New York and learned a great deal about the community of fiber farmers, educators, and designers throughout New York State, all working together to advocate and support localized supply chains. Thank you, Helen. And I think it is important for me to close with this point, that my natural fiber journey has been both global and local. And the same can be said for our larger fashion supply chain, with the mix of global producers and brands, as well as local family-owned farms and dedicated designers. And now it is my sincere pleasure to introduce our first featured speaker today, Dr. Helen Trejo. Dr. Trejo is an associate professor in the Department of Apparel, Merchandising, and Management at California State Polytechnic University, Pomona. She brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to her role, teaching courses in textile science, apparel construction, and researching the intersections of fibers, fashion, agriculture, and technology, with a focus on supporting local clothing and textiles economies. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Helen Trejo.
Hi everyone, I'm really happy to be here to share some of the work that I've been doing over the past 5 to 6 years, which is just an update of my graduate research where Dr. Tasha Lewis advised me, basically exploring the intersections of fashion and agriculture. Today I'll be discussing my work towards equitable slow fashion, and at the top of the screen you can get a hint of what that means, basically engaging students in slow fashion activities, getting them to look at the fibers under the microscope, visiting the sheep unit on campus at Cal Poly Pomona in Southern California, and also getting them to engage with product development, such as hand spinning yarns directly sourced from US farms. And to give a more extended introduction, I am originally from Los Angeles. I became interested in fashion design based on my family's history working in the factories in Los Angeles and also growing cotton in El Salvador. And this led me to UC Davis for my undergraduate in fashion design. I did a zero waste fashion design collection, and at Cornell University for my master's and PhD, I began to explore the intersections of fashion, agriculture, and technology. And a fun fact about me, I have a twin sister, and this is our visit to Laughing Goat Fiber Farm, which Dr. Lewis showed earlier. Visiting the farm, seeing the variety of fibers. Here we see Angora goat fibers that produce mohair, but this farm also had sheep and alpacas that convey the diversity of different fibers that can be on one farm. And during my PhD research, I visited the farms. I also interviewed the farmers and visited different design communities throughout the state to see what was the potential for local farm-to-fashion. My work has also explored what slow fashion is. Many of you may be familiar with this term. It's not new. So in 2007, a scholar from the UK, Kate Fletcher, coined this term, and these are the 5 main components of slow fashion. And I began by looking at what localism means, and from there I've been looking more deeply at how slow fashion can be more equitable, especially by engaging hundreds of students and connecting it to authenticity with the direct relationships to the US sheep and wool farms, and thinking about how exclusivity can be expanded. So how can it intersect with equity so that more people can access slow fashion, since it may be limited based on the higher cost of the clothing or even the extended distance of some of the farms in rural areas. So this map shows where we are with the US sheep and wool industry. A lot of the industry is based in, we see that it's concentrated in the Midwest, the West Coast, and some of you may be familiar with the book Raw Material by Stephanie Wilkes. She documents her process of becoming a professional sheep shearer and wool classer throughout California and the Midwest. And here we are in Northern California analyzing the quality of fibers from a merino sheep farm. And the purpose of this was basically to evaluate the quality so that the farmer can get a better output once they send the raw materials to the mill for fiber processing and product development. My work is informed by some of the efforts of the Livestock Conservancy. It's a nonprofit that has aimed to increase knowledge about the rare sheep and wool throughout the world, and they developed a Shave 'em to Save 'em initiative a few years ago before the pandemic, and they identify the 22 rare sheep breeds that exist. Here we can see the different classifications they have based on the endangerment. And before the pandemic, I had a goal to source materials from the 22 different rare sheep that were threatened to be endangered. And here on the map, you can see where the farms were. So all the dots in black showcase where the farms are that were participating in the Shave 'em to Save 'em initiative. And I connected that data with the social economic information available through the US Census Bureau. And my goal was to source materials from farms that were in the lower income areas. And my original idea was to source from all 22 of the sheep breeds, but the reality was that I was only able to source from about half of those, and we can see what sheep and wool I was able to source. So a few of the sheep that are in the critical endangered category, most of them tend to be in the orange, so threatened to be endangered with a global population of less than 5,000. And this shows just some of the materials that were sourced. So the farmers, they take great pride in sharing the materials through the yarns and also the stories. Participating in the Shave 'em to Save 'em initiative, they also shared pictures of their sheep. We can see the marketing from the farms to have that direct connection to the authenticity aspect of slow fashion. And students were also engaged in this activity. They looked at the fibers under the microscope to evaluate the quality. They also did product development with knitting textiles, and we were showcasing this so that others can also see the variety of textures and natural colors that are available from the rare sheep and their wool. More recently, this was in 2020, I received a grant from the USDA through the Hispanic Serving Institutions program, and it was in collaboration with faculty from civil engineering, Dr. Simon Lee, and our goal was to extend the ideas with US wool and water reuse for sustainable development based on the interactions with students in the classroom with experiential learning, so giving them more exposure to the US sheep and wool farms, the wool, and from the civil engineering side, the professor, he had the students think about how the processing of wool can be more sustainable by reducing the water use based on his previous work with wastewater recycling. And another core aspect was the economic development. This project, it was to address a USDA goal at the time regarding natural resources and supporting rural economic development. This is some examples of the students' work. So over the years, they've been identifying farms that we could source materials from, and the class has been offered for about 5 years now, and we've developed a database of about 300 different farms. And maybe a little bit hard to see, but the green dots, they represent the different farms that students have identified throughout the U.S. The orange conveys the fiber processing mills that are available to process the raw materials. And this side, it just shows an example of the wool that was processed, that was sourced from a farm from California. And we're in the Los Angeles area, but this farm, it was about 3 hours away from the main metropolitan area, somewhere in a desert, a rural area. And we try to source some materials based on what resources the farmers already have. So in this case, it's wool roving, so basically ready to be spun into a yarn. And the students are the ones who do that next step of the yarn development, as we can see here. The students also engage in reflexive activities with community engagement. So here they're sharing their experiences working on the project and also the skills they gained based on being in the undergraduate fashion program. And this was shortly after the pandemic. So over the past 3 to 4 years, they've been sharing their work with the about the USDA project, answering questions that community members have, and doing yarn spinning and textile weaving demonstrations. More recently, we also engaged with youth. So this is just an example from some youth that were visiting our department last summer. They were interacting a lot with the students in our department, and also doing textile weaving. And based on the students' interests, whether they were interested in knitting or crochet, they were working directly with the yarns that were developed by the undergraduate team. And we did live demonstrations during the LA County Fair, and also did exhibit as part of the work last year. Here we can see some of the work from the yarns that were spun using the natural colors that were sourced by the different student groups over the past years, and also the final woven textile that was created with community members as part of the reflexive learning approach from last year. And some of the challenges is physically getting to the farms, and in Los Angeles, we're not directly in proximity to the farms that we discuss other than the sheep unit on campus. So some of my work has involved looking at how we can use technology to expand the reach of the sheep and wool farms, and the demonstration that I'll show is based on a few years work. And it's only a 5-minute, I won't show the whole 5 minutes, but it's just to give people an idea of what the sheep and wool can look like, and information that we can get related to the rare fibers. So I'll play a short part of it. As you can see, it's a gamified experience, and this follows some of the best practices with virtual reality. So this demo app was originally created around 2017, right when the Oculus Quest technology was being refined. And here we can see there's 22 rare sheep, and as the person is navigating through the space, they're also collecting points. And here we can see just a representative statement. So I am a Navajo churro sheep, and I'm threatened to be endangered. My wool is long, strong, and has many uses in textiles. And the user would get exposed to a variety of messages based on the experience. And I'll fast forward a little bit. So these sheep, these smaller white sheep, they have AI integrated into them. And when the app was originally developed, the AI didn't work properly based on just limitations with the technology. And now, even just 5 to 6 years later, the technology is able to integrate the original AI algorithm. And basically, the sheep are just there to help simulate more of that farm environment. So they're just walking around the space. And the AI that's integrated here is just the algorithm. So the the instructions they have is to basically approach the closest rare sheep, and once they approach that sheep, they basically go to the next closest sheep as part of the experience. So this works with the Meta Quest, and also I'm hoping to get it to work with the Apple Vision Pro in the future. Some of my future work will continue to explore how slow fashion can intersect with the variety of areas. So agriculture and the environment, thinking of how we can use it to expand knowledge, especially with some of the climate efforts and reducing water use. Also, how does it intersect with the human sciences and community engagement with the general public and also youth? And how can we use emerging technologies, so virtual reality, augmented reality, and the innovations with artificial intelligence, especially as that's changing very quickly? And how can all of that be used to inform educational experiences that can reach hundreds or thousands of students that can continue to basically support slow fashion and sustainable fashion? I'd like to give special thanks to my university. We are a polytechnic, so there's a lot of opportunities for the students to get hands-on, learn by doing experiences. And the project, it was supported since like the first year, second year that I started to work at Cal Poly Pomona by the USDA. And in the future, the project is expected to continue with more apparel faculty and also additional engineering faculty to engage more students. And I'd be happy to answer any questions after the talks are finished. Thank you.
So we put our stairs on the wrong side of the stage. So you'll see me climb every time a new speaker comes on. So thank you, Tasha, Lisa, Helen. You opened up the session wonderfully. Now it's my privilege to describe what's about to happen at the event. We have a series of speakers who are going to deliver what's called a Pechakucha presentation, which essentially is a rotating slide deck of photographs, images, pictures, anything you could imagine that's a visual that automatically transitions every 20 seconds. Now, I've never done this before, and I don't know if any of them have ever done it before, but I guess we just convinced them to do it here for the first time. So we're hoping that it'll go well, and we'll bear with any technical difficulties if those do arise. But we're first going to begin with Jess and Sarah from the Rust Belt Fibershed. They are twin sisters, expert community organizers, and the co-founders of that organization. So please join me in welcoming to the stage Jess Boeke and Sarah Pottle.
Does the time start when we speak into the mic, or is it?
Yes.
And? Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, no pressure. Hello, everybody. I'm Sarah Pottle. Jess Boeke. And we are twin sisters, also co-founders of the Rust Belt Fibershed. We are so happy to be here with you tonight, so happy we were invited to speak, and I'm to share some excitement for what is about to happen, what has been happening in our region related to place-based fashion. How many of you are familiar with the term fibershed? Okay, we like to think about it as analogous to a food shed, where if you think about your local farmer's market, right, there's this nice cycle here, and we think about the cycle is very important, cyclical fashion, right? But we're here to talk about place-based and why place-based makes this so accessible. So if you just know the stats about like an apple, let's say, a big store apple is 1,500 miles. A farmer's market apple, 77 miles. Why am I showing you this? Because if you can start thinking about where your apples come from and your food, we've already started to wrap our mind around that. Now it's time to start thinking about where our garments come from. And the average cotton t-shirt travels 39,000 miles. And so if we can think about all the parameters and all the things that make that sort of a challenging thing and a hard thing to get behind, if we can start localizing that, we're going to have much more success in catalyzing a regional supply chain. Jess is going to tell you why it's a little hard. We understand that the textile industry right now is a linear extractive industry, and that it is globalized, and that is incredibly complex and just gigantic. And so it's very easy to bury the consumer in the middle of that, and we don't even know what questions to ask. So, you know, when we're thinking about where our clothes come from, we want to determine really what is the beginning of that linear supply chain, and where are we getting our materials from. And place-based is the best way to support circularity. I don't know about you, I don't really want a refinery in my hometown, right? And so when we're thinking about how do we do this in our place, we're thinking about what carbon pool we want. We want farmers around, right? We want that pastoral setting. We want to be close to the land. Additionally, where are our clothes headed, right? Once we're finished with them. We're so disconnected from this as a culture, as a community, and when it's outsourced to other areas of the world that we're extracting from, we're missing that, you know? So Fibershed is here to be kind of the network connection to help people both think about where their clothes are coming from, where their materials are coming from, as a culture shift, as well as connect all pieces of a very local place-based textile economy. So we're connecting designers to farmers to owners to consumers through promoting local fiber, local dyes, and local labors. And we specifically, so we're here, we're doing it, right? 250 miles around Cleveland, Ohio is kind of the domain that we are working around to really localize this garment production industry. But there are some drawbacks. I'm going to take on a little tour around. These are the farmers. We'll start in the cycle, even though there's no real start because it's a circle. But the farmers are doing amazing things. We're growing things at time. But the big hang up for them is what is the price that they're getting for what they're growing. Producers, if we follow along the circle there, if we're thinking about what happens after the farmers farm the stuff, right? Where does it go? We're having some mini mills come back in. We have some talented people who are ready to do this work, but we're sort of building the plane while we're flying it. We can't really tell the farmers to put their stuff in production yet because we don't necessarily have the machinery to produce it yet. Designers, if we continue around the tour on the circle on the bottom right, the designers are doing a great job. They're amazing. We have so much talent in this region, but they're asking, where can I purchase yardage? And we're saying, there's no such thing yet. Hold on, okay? So we're sort of trying to keep this momentum going while we work on all of this. If you can continue down, after the life cycle, we have menders and upcyclers who can do so much with the fiber that's already here. We talk a lot about soil to soil, so when your fiber is grown by farmers and those natural fibers, but there is so much material that is already here in this fiber shed, and the only gap there would be that we need to reskill people. We also have a ton of assets outside of that. We have so many universities. We have Detroit, we have Pittsburgh, we have Cleveland, we have Columbus, Cincinnati, Erie, Buffalo. All of these folks are in our fiber shed, plus all the farmland in between. It's a very populated area, and we have so many people who are really engaged in making this a better place to live. And then there's the hands-on aspect, just the personal aspect of thinking about where our materials come from. And Rust Belt Fibershed steps in here and helps provide events and opportunities for people to connect with their clothing. So through different community programs that we have going on, once you touch that fiber, and I hope you all got a chance out there to do that and touch it and get connected with where our materials are coming from. We also hold community dye baths, like over dyeing. We have just a bunch of different events for people to learn from each other, to skill up, and to get connected with one another. And we also like to do that through the many different projects that we have. This is a picture of our one-year One Outfit gallery show. So celebrating all of the artistry and talent and all of the fibers as a showcase for what is actually in our area and what we can do, the potential, and just the creative vision behind so many of these outfits that we showcase are really phenomenal. And then beyond that, we have community connection. And this is really what Harrison was talking about earlier. This is what we have, right? You all are here. And Joe was talking about this. You all are here. We're here right now. We can do this together, and we can foster a community of care for people and planet through the lens of textiles, through the lens of farm to fashion. And that's what we want to do. We do not want to rebuild and reimagine our grandfather's textile industry. The EPA started because of what happened in our backyard here in Ohio. We do not want to just, rush right into this. We have to be calculated. We have to be thorough with our partnerships and vet our partnerships and make sure that we're doing the right thing by our people, for our land, for our living beings. We need another world. We need to think about our economics differently, about how we exchange money, about how we exchange good, and how it can be a regenerative experience for all of the people that are involved, all of you in here, all of us, making it accessible to get these beautiful, amazing textiles. And how do we get that together? And of course, it can be a little overwhelming. Where do we start? Like I said, you guys are all here today, right now, doing it. But we also have this graph up on our website. If you want to know where to start, there are so many specific actions that you can take to know that you're a part of this Fibershed movement, of this place-based local textile economy. We are nature. We are not separate from nature. We are part of it. And so that is really what we want to embed here, that we can be in communion with our land, with our raw materials, with the people that we're working with, and understand that that is the best experience that we can possibly have, is when we're in communion like that. This is a map of our value chain producers as we are currently growing and expanding and trying to pull different partners in to grow this economy. And we are so excited for you guys. If you're a farmer, if you're a weaver, if you're a spinner, if you're just interested, please connect with us in any of the ways. We're happy to talk with you about this. Thank you so much. Shout out to Laurel Turner for walking my baby.
That was incredible and exhausting. Thank you. Thank you both, Jess and Sarah. All right. So a little bit of backstory. You just heard from an umbrella type organization, Jess and Sarah from the Rust Belt Fibershed. We've asked and compiled a number of speakers on behalf of the wool, cotton, and hemp and flax fibers, and you'll hear from all of them from a farm to fashion perspective. So we have a duo, Laurel and Celeste. We're gonna have you two come up to the stage now to talk about wool. I learned recently from Laurel Shouvlin about the past tense of shearing. Does anyone know this? Shorn. Is this common knowledge? Okay, well, they're great people.
All right. Oh my God, it's nerve-wracking. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm Celeste Malvar-Stewart, and I'm a fiber and fashion artist.
And I'm Laurel Shouvlin, and I'm the farmer, I guess.
And here's Ray Ray, who is our common love that has actually allowed us to intersect our two worlds. And this is us when we first started. So we didn't realize this, but we go way, way back. And so it's only right that we connected through fiber, because as you can see, we both, kind of had the same personality.
It was our destiny.
We love this idea of town mouse, country mouse. I guess I'm the town mouse. Yeah. And you're the country. Ray Ray is on the farm, which of course is in the country. So it's interesting to see how we come from these two different environments, two different cultures, two different worlds, and yet we can connect. And that is the biggest thing about fiber that we can do, is actually connect with one another.
So Celeste is very active, obviously, in the fashion and sustainability world. And you can see pictured here her involvement as a conference speaker, as a teacher at CCAD, I should say instructor, and also at our farm doing an event.
And Laurel is an amazing fiber judge. So she travels all around the nation. I can hardly keep up with what she does. But she goes around and judges the different types of fiber, especially alpaca fiber.
And also involved in teaching youth. And this is a picture of our farm. The picture to the left I call 4-ply, because I have 4 different colored alpacas. I also have Rommeldale sheep and absolutely beautiful lane.
And the baby crias are running down there below. And if any of you have ever hugged a baby cria, you'll know they're the softest creatures on earth.
We've worked together on several projects, and 2 of them here, all trying to build an awareness in our community to the use of fiber. And one was at our farm, and then also at, what's the name of the school?
Hilliard Schools, Hilliard Innovation Hub. But we basically do these things where anyone can come and participate and learn about the fiber and how we use it. This is me doing my thing, which is mostly felting. Please go into the other room and check out my felted gown, and please touch it. Felting is sort of my way of communicating using this beautiful fiber right straight off from the animal.
And one of the cool things that we've that Celeste has taught me is about use of natural dyes and other sustainable practice. She grows indigo, and we have had fun doing some indigo dyeing as well. And she kind of launched me on a project to use plants around the farm to create dyes, and those skeins in this picture are also at the table. I use nettles, goldenrod, the horrible ragweed I finally found a use for, walnut, and pokeweed.
And all from the farm, so it's really fun to walk through the farm and just be able to have these resources.
There are two types of alpacas, and that's my main focus, and we call it alpaca fleece, we don't call it wool. There's the Wakaya and the Surrey. I have mostly Surreys, but both fibers are uniquely soft and have very little oil or lanolin in the fleece, which is also great for the environment in terms of scouring and not needing as much detergent and water.
And these are just some examples of how I incorporate wool. The neck piece is from a Lincoln long wool named Sugar. She loves pets and cookies, and she lives in Medina, Ohio. Here's another piece as well where you can see that the wool is being used and the alpaca is being used, but it still is able to look very ethereal, and it dyes beautifully. You can see that it took the indigo there beautifully. And I also deconstructed denim, and I incorporate that waste into my pieces by, in this instance, weaving, and then this instance that you see here, it was spun with local wool as well, and it's all Ohio wool from shepherdesses throughout Ohio that I then knitted into this piece, and even using the top stitching that they use in denim when I'm deconstructing, so using every part of the jeans.
Alpaca, just like other wools, can be used for weaving, knitting, felting, obviously, needle punching. The sky's the limit. So that's one of the wonderful things about these fibers, as well as their versatility.
And you can see our silliness, which we just love to connect with. But you see machinery like this that, unfortunately, this doesn't really exist anymore in the country. These big machines from the 1800s are now obsolete. But it doesn't mean we can't bring this stuff back on a more cottage industry level.
And as you can see, this is an odd picture. Celeste is from the Philippines, and I'm from Ohio, but we do a lot of collaboration and brainstorming on Taco Tuesdays, and so that's why the taco's in the middle.
And it's really wonderful because we talk about how our cultures are so different, right, and our lands are so far apart, but again, we can create community across any boundaries or borders.
And one of the great things that we've started is incorporating Surrey fabric into the fashion program at CCAD. And to the left is Aspen, who happens to be here, and she's working on a project with some Surrey fabric. And just a shout out to the folks in South America who actually gave us the alpaca. Their life and their sustainability is being really threatened by all of these artificial fibers, as well as mining, et cetera. And I had the privilege to go down there last fall and experience the chaku, where all of the fiber harvested actually goes to the community as opposed to individuals.
And here we are in the end saying, thank you, create community, and it can be done through fiber. Thank you so much.
They are incredible. That is a great example of a dynamic duo, a partnership that has led to lasting change in sustainability in fashion. So thank you to Celeste and Laurel. Now, I'd like to welcome up to the stage Troy Bridgeforth. He is a 5th-generation farmer on Bridgeforth Farms in Tanner, Alabama, and we'll let Troy take it away.
Hi, I'm Troy, and this is my father, Billy. On behalf of all the Bridgeforths, we're happy to be here at the Ohio State with Victoria's Secret to talk about how we became something bigger than just farmers. We're growing fiber, growing people, and planning the future. So for 150 years, our family has farmed in North Alabama. Through storms, droughts, and downturns, we've stayed grounded in our purpose to grow with integrity and to do it in a way that uplifts the people and the community around us. We've been growing cotton since 1877, but what's lasted longer than any crop is how we think. We've stayed curious, open to change, and willing to question the way that things have always been done. The mindset has kept us farming for 5 generations now. My grandfather used to say, if you take care of the land, it'll take care of you. That kind of thinking shaped how we make decisions. Even today, it still does. It's why we've embraced sustainable practices and partnerships that are rooted in purpose. Risk is a part of the job, every season, every market, every year, but we've learned that clarity creates resilience. The clearer our focus about where we're going, the easier it is to weather what we didn't see coming. And in fact, it was actually a tragic weather event that allowed us to get to where we are today. In 2011, a series of devastating tornadoes ripped through Alabama. Our farm and community were hit hard. Homes lost, our equipment was damaged, our operation was disrupted, but the storm also cleared a way for us to think about how we do things differently. Instead of just rebuilding, we reimagined it and we looked at how we farmed and how we could do it smarter. So we chose to evolve and embrace precision agriculture. This meant adopting GPS-guided tractors, soil mapping, and advanced data collection. These tools helped us make our smarter decisions and reduce our footprint. It allowed us to do more with less in every part of our operation. So precision ag helps us reduce fuel, fertilizer, and the amount of equipment that we use. We cut costs while improving yields. That's good for the planet and it's good for our business. Efficiency gives us room for reinvestment and to grow responsibly. As we became more data-driven, the world was also becoming more connected and access to companies was becoming more available. We started looking beyond traditional commodity sales. So we asked ourselves, can we connect directly with the brands that use cotton? Can we play a bigger role in their operations? Could we create more value, not just for us, but for the entire supply chain? We were fortunate to capture the attention of Victoria's Secret. They weren't just sourcing fiber, they were looking for partners. They wanted traceability, transparency, and a shared sense of purpose. Our story, our practices, and our values align for mutual benefit. Our partnership isn't just transactional, it's been transformational. It's built on dual respect. It gives us the space to grow, the encouragement to lead, and the opportunity to prove that small farms can make big impact when given the opportunity. Out of our transformation came Bridgeforth Cotton. That's our own retail brand. Bridgeforth Cotton sells the story from seed to shelf. It's rooted in legacy, powered by precision, and built to bring consumers closer to the fabric and the farmers that they believe in. Having a direct relationship with Victoria's Secret gives Bridgeforth Cotton visibility and stability as well. It means our farm is part of a national conversation around sustainability, inclusion, and the future of fashion. It proves that small farms with smart systems can serve big brands, and we've learned that modern customers want to know where things come from and trust where it all starts. Our success means reinvestment. It means local jobs, new business opportunities, and a sense of pride that ripples far beyond our acres. It's real shared value that benefits the entire community. With Victoria's Secret support, we offer college scholarships to study agriculture and technology. We offer internships for college students, and that allows them to work side by side with us, and they learn how precision and tradition can exist together. Making the necessary financial and process investments, it took courage. But we believe that if we told our story honestly and we delivered quality consistently, that we could help shape a new way of doing business. And in doing so, we would open some doors for other people to follow. And so we expected it to be hard. We expected it to be a great challenge. We knew we didn't have it all figured out when we started, but we just stayed open to the possibilities. We were open to learning the new tools, open to different models, and we were even open to being wrong. And with that openness, it allowed us to find ways to make this partnership work. And so we're proud to be a part of something bigger than our farm, more than just business. We've weathered storms, we've adapted, and after 150 years, we're just getting started. The future is planted, and with partners like Victoria's Secret, Bridgeforth Cotton is growing strong. Now, we thank you kindly for the attention, and we look forward to connecting with any of you that would like to talk to us after the program.
All right, as Troy mentioned, weathering the storm through partnerships. I think that's what many of us are looking forward to doing today by connecting with each other at the event. And that's exactly what Troy and his dad have done with Sarah Moore, who's the Associate Vice President of ESG at Victoria's Secret. So let's welcome up Sarah.
Thanks so much, Harrison. Thank you, Troy. So I'm here to continue that story from the brand side. As the Bridgeforth said, they have been farming for 150 years and they are just getting started. We are proud to be on that journey with them. I'm Sarah Moore from Victoria's Secret, the underwear brand. I get surprised looks all the time when I'm talking about agriculture, but for us, it makes complete sense. We use more cotton than anything else in our portfolio. So without it, we don't have a business. And cotton is used in those garments that are closest to you, in your underwear, your bras, and our customer loves it. They're familiar with it, it's soft, it's comfortable. But the truth is, for a long time, us and many other brands couldn't answer the most basic questions. Who grew this cotton? How was it grown? If we couldn't answer that, how could we answer what the impact of our company is? In the traditional system, cotton fiber changes hands many times. We'd buy fabric from suppliers who bought yarn from spinners who bought fiber from somewhere. It was a black box, lots of middlemen. We didn't know the farmer and they didn't know us. So we started rethinking how we source. We tried something that others hadn't. We decided to go direct, to partner with US farmers. This ensures that they're paid fairly and they know where their cotton goes. We started with 4 farms in Alabama, including our tremendous partners at Bridgeforth. We visit them, we walk their farms, and we know their teams. We work together on growing cotton and building a better system around it. In addition to the Bridgeforths, we're working with 3 amazing women farmers, Liz, Jamie, and Larkin, who you see here. Their farms are nearby the Bridgeforths in Alabama. They're not here today, but they are crucial to our sourcing. So I encourage you to look on our website, read more about their stories, and happy to share those stories. From these fields in Alabama, the cotton goes to the gin, then to a spinner, then fabric, and then to a final product. We can now trace every step. Spinning and fabric making, manufacturing for us happen in Asia, but we're actively exploring how we can bring that closer to home and closer to where the cotton is grown. And we go to great lengths to make sure that the cotton in your product really came from the Bridgeforths, that it's not blended with other cotton. We keep it separate at the spinner, track data, and we run an isotope test once it's woven into material. This means that when we tell our customer that it's US cotton in their product, we know it is. It means we're ensuring that we know our farmers are getting fair prices for their cotton. And it creates certainty for us that these products help support local US communities and economies. Since starting these partnerships in 2021, this direct source cotton is now over a third, sometimes almost half of the cotton we purchase every year. We've made over 90 million garments with this cotton from Alabama, which goes to show that this isn't just a pilot, that this can scale. Starting this program meant we had to do things we've never done before. We had to figure out contracting. We were now the new proud owners of cotton fiber. We had to figure out how to store it and ship it. All things that were new to us, we had never done before. It's not the easiest way to do business, but it does give us something critical. It gives us visibility. We can now track labor practices, land use, and risk in our supply chain. It helps ensure products get to our stores on time and that we are meeting regulations. Governments continue to demand more transparency from brands and retailers, and rightfully so. Forced labor still very much exists in global cotton supply chains. This model helps us prepare. If we can't prove where our materials come from, we can't deliver our products to stores and to customers. And now our customer in particular doesn't come to us for sustainability. We're not Patagonia, we're not REI. But when we tell the story behind the product, who grew it, how it was made, the customer values it more. They feel better about their purchase at the end of the day. So we've added QR codes to products that show its journey from raw material, and soon we'll also show the environmental footprint too. Some countries like France already requires this for food, and they are bringing it to apparel next. And while key to our partnerships is ensuring that our partners are practicing regenerative, we don't mandate a certification. There are many out there, and there is a right time and place for certifications. But we know that our farmers know their land better than anyone. We ask for transparency, data, and dialogue, not a stamp on a label. And for us, that's true partnership, along with being much more invested in each other's success. We are following weather patterns in Alabama to see how harvest is looking. The Bridgeforths are watching the Victoria's Secret fashion show to make sure that our designs are on point and that sales are looking good. And we agree on prices that let both of our businesses succeed. We're rooting for each other. For me, this is personal. I used to work in the food industry. I've always cared about where my food comes from, and it's time we know where our clothes come from too. And it's time for the Bridgeforths to get to see where their cotton that they've cared for and loved, where that ends up. We certainly don't have it all figured out. Every harvest comes with new learnings, and there are other fibers for us to address. But this is a start that we're proud of, and we couldn't do it without partners like the Bridgeforths who are willing to take that leap and try something new. We're hoping that this can serve as a blueprint for others. If we build new ways of working as a global brand with over 40 years of history, so can others. I want to end by saying that just being in the room today is so energizing. There's so much happening on a local level, it's translating globally, and this is how true impact happens. So just really appreciate and am so energized to see all of the visionary leaders in this room and looking forward to continuing to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I think you said it well. It is time to switch over to other fibers. Speaking of other fibers, hemp. We're lucky to be joined today by TJ Richardson and Justin Helt, who run the Ohio Hemp Company. The Ohio Hemp Company. And here they are.
You know what's coming next. Oh, wait! I waited all day to do that.
Thank you so much. Before we get started, I've got to get a couple things out of the way. I want to say thank you so much to Joe, Harrison, Hallie, David, the original EPN back there. Let's give them a round of applause. Seriously, it's just amazing to hear David's stories earlier of this starting 12 years ago and where we're at now and where we're headed. Like Sarah said, how empowering and what an exciting opportunity. The last disclaimer I've got to get out of the way because it does not fit in our presentation, but is very important. The golden question we are always asked, what can we do? How can we help? We are advocates, first and foremost, right? Landowners, producers, farmers. We need to grow more hemp. Investors, we've got to build a $2 million facility.
So anybody wants to help us get on that, we've got to continue to work on that. And last but not least, manufacturers. We've got to have demand, right? Takes purchase orders, sometimes global, to fuel those factories. So would love to chat with any of you afterwards if any of that piqued your interest. So without further ado, we're going to take you on a journey here. So let me know when my 20 seconds starts. Can I get it? Okay, start from the top. Long before fast fashion, there was fiber with purpose. From ancient Egypt to dynastic Asia, hemp clothed royalty, powered ships, and preserved knowledge. A single plant clothed, fed, and healed entire civilizations. Hemp was the original natural fiber woven into the sails of history.
And when the New World was born, hemp came too. Early America depended on it. George Washington grew it. Betsy Ross may have sewn the first American flag with it. The Declaration of Independence, written on hemp paper. The original American dream was printed on plants.
Then came the smear campaign. Propaganda like reefer madness and the 37 Tax Act twisted public perception. Big industries like timber, cotton, and petroleum saw hemp as a threat. So they used fear and not fact to silence the seed.
But in wartime, truth sprouts. World War II's Hemp for Victory campaign called farmers back to the fields. The government needed rope, canvas, uniforms. Hemp became a patriotic crop, its usefulness undeniable. Over 400,000 acres were grown during the war.
But in 1970, we were buried again. Nixon's Controlled Substance Act made hemp guilty by association, one of humanity's oldest crops erased from our memory, classified as a narcotic instead of a necessity.
But the Renaissance still began. In 2014, the government allowed research to start, and in 2018, hemp finally returned federally approved, this time for fashion, food, and function. The future of fabric is fiber-based, and hemp is next up on the runway.
One plant, three sisters. Hemp is not just one thing. Hemp is a flower for medicine. It's a grain and seed for food and fuel. It's a fiber for fashion and form. These three sisters grow together but serve very different purposes. So let me ask, do you really want to make a difference? Start by understanding this plant so that together we can unlock its potential.
From plant to product, over 25,000 uses. From protein powder to luxury purses, from motor oil to motor jackets. Hemp is not a niche, it's a necessity, and its value chain is long, diverse, and ready for reinvention.
Hemp feeds, fuels, and nourishes. Its grain is a complete protein, the ultimate human superfood for humans and animals. The seed oil powers machinery and biofuels. In fact, the sustainable aviation fuels of tomorrow could be built on hemp.
But fiber is the unsung hero. The stalk gives us bast and hurd, think soft linen-like threads and woody chips. Fiber is what connects farm to fashion. It's the root of our story and the future of what we wear.
But it's more than fashion, it's function. Hempcrete insulates homes, hemp wood replaces timber, auto parts become lighter, stronger, more reliable. Hemp isn't just wearable, it's buildable, it's breathable, it's biodegradable.
Field to fiber is actually simpler than you think. If you can grow soybeans, you can grow hemp. Plant it, harvest it, combine the grain, cut the straw, bale the fiber. It needs less water, no pesticides, and fits into existing rotations. The added benefits of carbon sequestration and soil remediation give farmers a regenerative, high-value option.
Processing is the make or break of the promise. After harvest, hemp is decorticated, it's cleaned, degummed, and spun into thread. Cottonization and weaving turn raw stock into runway material. Processing is where fiber becomes fashion.
And what fashion it is. From soft jersey to rugged canvas, from elegant lace to everyday denim, hemp can be spun into just about anything. Naturally dyed, naturally beautiful, and naturally durable.
So what if your clothes healed the earth? Hemp clothes last longer, they breathe better, they fight odor, and they get softer every time you wash them. Activewear, denim, couture, it doesn't matter. Hemp fits every style. And in today's economy, local fibers mean global impact.
And this isn't just theory, it's actually happening. Events like this are the bridge where soil meets style, where activism meets apparel, where agriculture walks the runway. This isn't just about clothes, it's about values. Consumers want fashion that doesn't poison the earth. And by using hemp in their clothing, these companies that are up here are proving their commitment to both people and the planet.
And America is waking up. As we see from Texas to Montana to the Carolinas, we're rebuilding. Panda Biotech, I&D Hemp, the Ohio Hemp Company. Together, we're building infrastructure, trade networks, and textile leadership. The industry is sprouting and fast. So, what's your role? Speak it.
Support it.
Wear it.
Fashion is rooted in the farm, and the future of fashion is what we plant today. And now, the seed is in your hands. Thank you.
Thank you.
I feel like I was a shark on Shark Tank getting a pitch.
That's what we were going for.
Fantastic.
You're welcome.
We actually had the folks at Fossil Center have the microphone crack every time someone makes a great point. So, great job. All right, so let's talk about our last fiber of the day, the mighty flax fiber. This is going to be our third family duo of the evening. Mother and daughter, Abbe and Lily Turner, from right here in Ohio. We had another set of twins earlier today, and we had a father and son talk about cotton. So let's bring up our third family duo to talk about farm to fashion, locally grown flax, and how it can be inserted into amazing dresses.
All right. Hi, everybody. Hello. Last one. Thanks for sticking around. It's going to be great. The title of our presentation, what's it? You can't see it quite yet. There we go. The title of our presentation is With Loving Hands, Rediscovering Genetic Heritage Through Flax Farming and Fashion Design. I'm Lily Turner. This is my mom, Abbe.
I'm Abbe Turner. I am a cheesemaker and a mushroom grower and a goat lover, and I have a small farm in Knox County. With my team, I also run 5 farmers markets in the Columbus area with common greens.
I'm a fashion and costume designer. I'm located in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now, but I'm from Northeast Ohio, where I grew up on our small farm. I currently serve as the program director for Three Rivers Fibershed, which is our fibershed that covers Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa. And I focus on sustainability in the fashion industry.
So we're here today as a mother-daughter duo, joined by the shared interest in ethically produced goods made by hand. For food, this means regenerative agriculture, healthy soils, and water.
For clothing, this means regenerative textiles as well, natural fibers, supply chain tracing, recycling, and more. In our own individual work and together, we plant, prepare, harvest, process, design, create, and produce sustainable goods made by hand. Although our engagement with flax is relatively recent, we have recently learned that it's been a part of our family for many generations.
So this is our story, and these are my ancestors. I'm an adopted child, and when I was little, I always wondered where my love for fabric and beautiful things in the natural world came from. And during COVID, I actually got the opportunity to meet my biological mother one time before she died. And she shared with me this family history. It is a family of genetic lineage of flax growers, linen weavers, and coat makers.
At the same time as this family discovery, I was in the beginning stages of my thesis research project, which was a profile of the fiber situation in the upper Midwest, focusing namely on wool and flax. It was serendipitous. The academic paper was followed by a 6-look capsule collection. Some of the pieces are on view in the room over there, so go take a look. I spent a long time finding sources for the textiles I used, supply chain tracing every single textile in ocean, every piece of everything, to ensure ethical production, as well as doing historical research on flax production in Minnesota specifically. There was a time after World War II where Windham, Minnesota was considered the flax capital of the world, agricultural researchers claiming it once produced 50% of the world's flax. I'm not sure that that statistic is 100% true, but sadly by the 1960s, this massive industry in the upper Midwest turned to corn and soy production, and by 1970 there were 2 little farms in the state of Minnesota to count. So why do we love linen as a fabric? What makes it so special? Like wool, it is thermoregulating for both warm and cool temperatures. It has a timeless quality, and it is a bast fiber, as you can see in that photo, like hemp and jute. All the linen for this project was hand-woven in Wisconsin, but the yarn could only be sourced from Belgium. This is the full set of looks for the collection. It is 100% biodegradable, and all textiles that could not be sourced locally, the majority, because it's impossible, were secondhand or dead stock natural fibers. Emphasis was placed on versatility and the ability to adjust garments based on season and occasion, while visually referencing biomimicry, as well as the concept of place. Here are images from the finished work. It was showcased at Macalester College, as well as the Fashion Week Minnesota Sustainability Show. We had, in one of the looks there, 100% locally raised, processed, spun, woven wool sateen fabric, a very rare thing for the industry, and the hand-woven linen was a joy to work with. However, flax is very beneficial for things that aren't just clothes.
So flax is a highly functional food. It's a fiber crop, it's oil. And from the ground flax seeds that you have in your smoothie every morning, it provides you with omega-3 fatty acids, it helps you lower your cholesterol, it improves your general health and wellness. So flax is actually a very easy plant to grow. And it's perfect for Ohio. You plant it in spring. It's 90 days to harvest to get to the fibers, and 110 days to get to harvest for the actual seeds. We grew flax at our farm last year, planted in May, had our first flower in July, and then harvested as a family in August. This is all in partnership with the Rust Belt Fibershed, who have supported our efforts as we begin this flax journey.
This is what flax looks like after it's been processed. This is roving before being spun into yarn. This photo was taken during an intensive flax processing day in 2022 with Rust Belt Fibershed. Unfortunately, there is no commercial flax processing in the United States whatsoever. The closest facility is in Nova Scotia.
So the future of flax starts with small farms. And last year, over 40 individuals in Ohio grew flax in their backyards, gardens, and farms. And we're honored to continue this work with Rust Belt Fibershed and our family history at Knox County. We're going to start planting seeds next week, so if anyone has any free time, give us a call.
This is a photo of a flax flower from my friend Natalie Reese. She's entering her fourth year growing flax, upgrading from a small community garden plot in Minneapolis to a 3,200 square foot plot in St. Cloud, Minnesota. She's a spinner and weaver herself and continues to do the work of stewarding local linen. Initiatives such as the Rust Belt Linen Project, Pennsylvania Flax Project, Midwestern Linen Revival in Wisconsin, as well as individuals in this community are carrying this fiber onto its next chapter.
The future of sustainable farming and sustainable fashion is in our hands. Let's do this work together.
I think I need some of the energy from those hemp guys over there. Join me in thanking all of our amazing speakers. I want to extend a major thank you to Ms. Lisa Goldsand and Dr. Tasha Lewis for bringing us into the world of sustainability and fashion production. Without your partnership, there would be no Farm to Fashion event. And Helen, thank you for bringing us through virtual reality into the world of sustainability and fashion production too. Last, we have to echo a major thanks to the many, many exhibitors throughout the venue, from the student posters to the organizations tabling around the room. As is our EPM tradition, we're happy to recognize you with a certificate of appreciation. These are to acknowledge your work to help us learn and shape the world for the better. Thank you. Before we adjourn, just a quick preview of some future EPN events that are coming up. One fun thing about the EPN is that the summer we like to move outdoors and focus on learning and networking within the various natural resources areas of our state. But with so many excellent natural resources and sustainability-related projects, sites, and opportunities across Ohio, it's an annually daunting task to determine which sites to travel to for the EPN summer field trips in June and July. On behalf of the EPN, I'm happy to announce our summer field trip programs coming your way this summer. Our June 10th program is titled Balancing Development and Sustainability in the New Albany International Business Park. It'll include a panel of development and sustainability representatives from the business park, structured networking for sustainability professionals, and a tour of the business park itself. Then our July 21st program will focus on how classroom educators can increase opportunities for environmental education for their students. It's called From Classroom to Career, Connecting Ohio Educators and Environmental Professionals for Student Opportunities. It'll include a showcase of excellent environmental education projects across Ohio and a tour of Columbus City School District's Spruce Run Nature Center, which is their environmental education campus. Meals will be included at both events, and charter bus transportation options are available from Columbus. Registrations will open soon. If you're not already signed up to receive updates about EPN events, I strongly encourage you to visit the link on the screen to create an account before you leave. When you're logged into your account, you can post about job openings and other activities happening across the state and region. It's a great way to be a part of the network. And before we wrap up, I want to thank the team that's behind all of this, starting with Dwayne Gandelote and Molly Bean, our communications and photography experts, Jacob Garrett in IT, Scott Spears and Peter John Ross handling the live stream, Allie Tate, Chris Patterson, Dorina Sinyak, Claire Huffman, Addie White, and Lydia Shapada.
Yes.
Okay. Harrison says yes. Sorry about that, Lydia. These are our EPN assistants and volunteers. I'd also like to thank Joe for all of his hard work over the years. As many of you know, Joe is stepping down this year as our EPN director. Harrison is stepping in as our new EPN director. Joe will stay involved with time, and he's not leaving SENR. He's staying with us. So we're happy to congratulate Joe on all of his work, and happy to have Harrison taking the lead from here on out. That concludes the 2025 EPN Earth Day event. If you haven't picked up your native plant plug, courtesy of the Wexner Medical Center's Green Team, then please do so at the Montgomery Room near the exit. Happy Earth Month. Stay safe, stay well, and thank you for being a part of our community.